Welcome to Planet People, a podcast that aims to inspire curiosity and cultivate a deeper connection with the natural world.
We are thrilled to be sharing stories with you that highlight the beauty and importance of protecting our planet's wildlife.
Be sure to follow us on social media and your favorite podcast streaming platform so that you never miss an episode. Hey Planet People, we are super excited to be sharing this episode with you guys today. Hey Coral.
Hi Natalie, happy Wednesday, hump day.
Hump day. Well, it's a few days after the Super Bowl halftime show and, well, by the time you listen to this, it'll be a few days after the halftime show, but it's the day after right now and Coral and I are recording this on Monday and just so excited after the Bad Bunny halftime show, just reeling with like inspired action.
Yeah, so we talk a lot about Bad Bunny and all of the work he does for people and the planet. We also talk about an unexpected little species.
Yes, the Puerto Rican crested toad. You may not know that it's tied to the Super Bowl halftime show and Bad Bunny's DTMF album, but stay tuned if you want to know how they're connected. Along with the Puerto Rican crested toad, we are talking a little bit about season 2 and what you can expect from A Short Pause, as well as an update about really our global messaging with Planet People as a production house, because we legitimized our business as Planet People Productions, and we can't wait to bring you guys bigger stories with more hope. So if you want to know what that message is, be sure to stay tuned and listen to the end of this episode for a really big update from our team and where we're going next when we take a little bit of a pause from season 2.
Spoiler, it's a short film we're working on and we're so excited about it.
It's going to be awesome. I know we're not going to be able to bring episodes to you guys every Wednesday after this episode comes out, but definitely stay tuned for more updates. And then, we'll continue the book club eventually. But right now, I think it's important that our efforts go towards some global messaging right now. There's much to talk about in terms of Bad Bunny and all of the great messaging and really sharing important themes that are going on in 2026.
Yeah, we're so hyped after that halftime show. I was in a bar at a local bar and everyone like flooded in just for the halftime show. And like it turned into a dance club real quick. It was so awesome.
I am obsessed. It was such a great halftime show. There was so much important messaging, especially around a time where there's just been a lot of hate and division with all of the ICE raids. And there's a lot going on in this country right now, right? That's dividing us. But Benito chose to share an important message that united us instead, and love Trump's hate.
It left us with a lot of hope. Like,
super hopeful.
I was not expecting it to leave me with as much hope as it did. And I just loved that. Like I was kind of bracing myself. I'm like, what are we going to get? Like, what call outs are we going to get? And, I appreciate the big call outs, and I was totally anticipating it. But I felt like, yeah, the whole love over hate thing just really shined through in such a beautiful way. And it was exactly, I think, what everyone needed, truly.
Well, and the importance of his halftime show was really demonstrated, and the messaging around it was shown through the resistance of music and joy and art. And so I don't think Bad Bunny needed to explain in words what was going on in America and what is happening. He used his art, his dance, his music, his everything, his love for Puerto Rico as an act of resistance for what's going on in America.
Yeah. It gave me chills. It was awesome. I loved all the cameos. I loved that the trees were actually people.
I know, that was so funny. All of the grass moving at the end of the show. I mean, he really hit the nail on the head with including so many different aspects about Puerto Rico. And I loved it.
Yeah. Something that you have been talking a lot about today, which you're actually the only person that I know that's talking about it, is the ode to the little froggy in Puerto Rico. Please tell us more about that.
Little toady.
Little toady?
Yes, okay. Not a frog. He actually was very clear in one of his PR statements that the, I guess you could say, flagship kind of animal in his DTMF album is the Concho, the toad, the Puerto Rican crested toad, which is a critically endangered species. And I realized last night when I was just watching the halftime show that there was a little flash image of the frog. I mean, excuse me, of the toad. They're easy to confuse. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. Like his song EOO is, well, actually, it's about pleasing women, which I love, but it's actually, which is great. But in the Spotify song, there's a loop of the Concho being like, just vibing out on the Spotify video loop for the song EOO. And I'm like, yes, that was awesome. And so I was looking at that last night while I was watching the Super Bowl halftime show, and I was like, Bad Bunny really is the first like pop artist to highlight one specific species that's critically endangered. I don't know anyone else that has done that, and he did it in a cool way that was relatable. And he made this little toad an icon in his DTMF album, and so that actually brought in a ton of money to the Puerto Rican Toad Conservancy, around like over $15,000 towards preserving the
Awesome.
species. I know.
Yeah, that's
Super
awesome.
exciting. So I was sharing a little bit about that today. And it's true that not that many people are talking about it because the overarching message is usually about the people that are exploited by colonialism, right? That's kind of this whole issue with the raid and the raids and with ICE. And it's like you can't kick people off of stolen land, right? And so that's what, people flock to, I think, in these messages from bigger artists. But there's all these underlying themes that include different cultures and different animals. And finally, we have an artist spotlighting an animal, like on the biggest stage in the world, he's representing one of the smallest. And so, Benito's for the people on the planet when he's advocating for life overlooked.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It just gives me goosebumps. Like, I was so excited last night when I'm like realizing, right? This pop artist is highlighting this small little endangered species. Like, finally.
Hmm.
It's like finally someone is paying attention.
For me, it was like the cherry on top. Like I was like,
Yeah,
it can't get any better. There's literally a live wedding that's happening. Like so many amazing cultural nods. And then on top of it, I'm like, you're advocating for the little toads? Like, what the heck? How
it's
can
the
you get any
best.
better?
It's the best. And that one scene where he's handing his younger version the Grammy and
Oh,
they're like
yeah.
watching him on the TV, that pulled at my heartstrings big time.
Yeah.
Because it's just an ode to like your childhood self. And he's basically like, you can do it. I
Yeah.
did it. You can.
So
It was
sweet.
so cute. When I saw that, I was like,
Oh,
the full circle moments. Benito just, he's an artist. It's all art. It's like the whole point was that you can believe. And there is this belief in yourself. And it's just inspirational that 10 years ago he was bagging groceries in Puerto
yeah.
Rico. He's 32 or 33. Like, wow. I mean, I don't know any other pop star. Like Miley Cyrus and Taylor have been in the industry for 20 years. And Taylor was at the top on Spotify for 23 and 24. And, that's after 20 years of being in the industry. Benito kicked her off the top of Spotify in 2025 with DTMF. And
Mhm.
he's been in the music industry for way less than her. Like, it's incredible how his music can unite people.
Yeah.
I feel so
Speaking
passionate right now.
speaking of uniting, he flew all of the American flags or all of the Americas and all of their flags. And I just felt like, yeah, in a time like this one, oh my gosh, chills.
Chills. And it's so true, just pointing to the fact that North America and the United States, the world does not revolve around you, and neither does speaking English. And I think him singing in Spanish is truly another act of resistance and pointing to the fact that English wasn't America's first language either. It might not have been Spanish, but it certainly wasn't English. And so I just think he continues to respect the native people and their tongue and the animals that have been alongside these native people for generations. We're just at this unique opportunity, like to turn the tides for better. And that's how I've been feeling today. I'm like, okay, just keep the Benito aura with you. Like,
Yeah.
that if you feel inspired by his halftime show, like, let that inspire you. Run with it. Like,
We
I,
have to. We have no choice, right? Like,
totally.
and like I said, I think we needed it. January was a rough, rough month. I mean,
Oh,
so
yeah.
many deaths when it came to ice and just, oh my gosh, so many terrible headlines in the news. the Epstein files. I'm like, oh my God, it can't get
I
any worse.
know.
So we needed this. We needed this. We
Yes.
needed some hope to run with to remind us why
Hmm.
we're here for this fight. You know what I mean? Like
Totally.
his halftime show was so lovely, wholesome, and it just reminded us what we're doing and why we're doing it, you know?
Definitely. And it's inspiring to see someone at the top like that advocate for people and the planet in a really impactful way. I mean, it was on the world's biggest stage, right? And so it just comes back to the message that we are all of this land and migration is part of nature. It is part of human biology. It's been a part of us for generations and generations and generations. And so when we try to stop the natural flow of people, of course there is going to be resistance. There always has been. And so it's just continuing to move forward and understanding that migration is like a birthright. It is an earth right. And that's what I'm excited about, like for this episode that we're sharing today, because it just feels like nothing else is more important than talking about the migration of humankind, of wildlife, of people, and removing borders because it's going to kill us.
It already is.
Yes, and it's going to kill wildlife because, we see with the jaguar from our last episode or, a few episodes back with rewildology. That's a species that needs to move to different territories and grounds. And in the same way that people flee to America from for example, in San Diego, I'm 30 minutes from the border. We have people coming in every day. And of course, you want to make sure that there's opportunity for all these people and that they have the same rights that we do and that there is some ethics behind it, right? But it's like we have to let the flow of people continue, just as we do with wildlife.
And certainly not police it in the way that it is now.
Exactly.
And I'm saying policing very loosely because that's not what's going on,
It's
right?
not. It's not. Yeah.
It's horrendous. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't even want to take it down a negative route because
It's not negative.
I feel like, I don't know, like I said it before, January felt really helpless. And I just feel like we totally needed what yesterday's halftime show was and to keep us hype and hopeful.
Totally. And just on the topic of, yeah, human migration being like a birthright, I think there are like other animals to spotlight, right? And
Mhm.
people have to be spotlighted in that same way because if these animals are suffering, then the people are suffering more. And I think conservation sometimes misses the people component, right? The social ecology of the environment that we always talk about on the show because it's easy for people in the wildlife space to be focused on saving one species. But I think we're moving away from that and seeing like a broader approach to conservation with like more like land protection with the Mojave Desert Land Trust, with rewildology. We're seeing these connectivity of corridors for animals to be able to cross through, like the jaguar, like the mountain lion, other animals coming up, bighorn sheep, pronghorn antelope. Like all of these animals don't operate without borders. And so it's just super important to talk about that. And what better time and platform than to do it right now?
Mm. I love that.
I just feel hopeful. Like we're so lucky that we do live in a time where it is possible to use our platforms and possible to believe in ourselves and see what happens with that. And Benito shows us that that's possible in a decade. He did all of this in a decade. And we need more people of influence to use their platform like him. So
Mhm.
maybe one day Planet People will be
Yeah.
as big as Benito's Spotify listens, but if you care about Benito and the Puerto Rican crested toad and conservation and people on the planet, then you're in the right place because we are carrying that same mission that Benito highlighted so beautifully last night. Like it is for
Yeah.
all the Americas. They bring so much diversity. Like Colombia alone has a quarter of the world's bird diversity. They have over like
Oh,
12,000
wow.
species of birds in Colombia alone.
Wow, I did not know that.
And not
That's
to
so
mention,
cool.
oh my God, it's a beautiful place for artwork too. Just
Mhm.
when these countries have suffered from colonialism, their response is to resist in art and to dance anyways and to grieve because they have no other choice. Joy is an act of resistance, and DTMF is the album that portrays that.
I'm actually really happy that you mentioned that because something that I wanted to bring up was, we talk a lot about like anxiety into action. How can you take action? And at a time like this one, um, there's some days that are so, so rough that you just don't even know what you can do. And it's kind of like this paralysis as you're doom scrolling and seeing all of this, terrible news. But I think that like, a really good anxiety into action point is to find artwork that really resonates with you as it relates to the mission, because there are people creating that artwork. And if you're an artist and you feel inspired as well, it's time to pick up the brush, pick up the mic, like whatever it is that you're creating with. I think now is the time. And you're right. Like times like these create beautiful art pieces and most powerful art pieces that you've ever seen. We always look back at history and we see different, logos and comic strips that changed history, changed people's minds and like really resonated. And I think just looking to art for that action piece is a really, really good first step. A song that really resonated with me recently, not Bad Bunny, but it was a band called The Sacred Souls, and they created this song during the Black Lives Matter movement in 2020, and it's called Give Us Justice. And it just randomly, I love that band, and I was like already on their like radio or whatever, and it randomly came up in the car on like a heavy, heavy week a couple weeks ago. And I just started bawling in the car and I was like, I needed to hear this song today. Like it was created in the Black Lives Matter movement, but it's so relevant today. And just to like lean on that song for the day and I don't know, find solace and like community, even in just listening to music. It was, yeah, I needed that.
Music is a beautiful release, and it's a great way to really, yeah, release any emotions and grieve. And DTMF is that, right? It's so nostalgic and it makes you want to dance anyways, kind of, right? Even if you don't know the lyrics or what the words mean, it evokes this feeling of emotion and of nostalgia that just, I don't know, there's something comforting about it. And so it's when music can inspire that in you. It's like nature can inspire that same feeling of nostalgia. And that's why I love the album cover too, the two plastic chairs sitting in the jungle with a banana tree behind it, because nature has always been a part of those nostalgic memories too. And I think he did a beautiful job of showing that in the halftime show last night with, the sugarcane fields and the grass, and like literally the environment of Puerto Rico was represented in such a small space. And I think that's another great pointer of why Bad Bunny is like such an advocate for the planet too. What other artist has ever brought in some natural component to a halftime show? I can't think of any. And so it's like, this is the icon like we need right now. And the anxiety into action for me is looking up to role models like Bad Bunny right now. And I think learn and become inspired. Like I was super stoked last night when I found out that Bad Bunny had represented the Concho, the Puerto Rican crested toad. Like, let's learn about that. That's your anxiety into action, because those species are still here. And there's a way to advocate for that life overlooked by just first understanding them. Like we always come back to that message here, is if you want to care about something, you have to understand it. And like, yes, understand it, but then that helps you make that connection where you feel some type of way about this animal or a place that matters to you. And Bad Bunny represents this place-based attachment that is so important to also having a connection to nature. Like this is a studied concept, having a place-based attachment. And with that comes the attachment of the animals in that place. And so again, just learning and educating, because that's like knowledge is wealth and knowledge is power. And when we can learn about the things in our own backyard and how to better advocate for them with our platforms, literally just like Bad Bunny did, then I think your anxiety will become hope, will turn into hope, right? And
Yeah.
action is the antidote to despair, and just learning about something is an action piece. Listening to music is an action piece. And those things inspire me every day because sometimes life is mundane and sometimes you read bad headlines, but music is always there and nature is always there, and so is Bad Bunny.
Something I learned just in this episode is that frogs and toads are different. So
Oh my God, are you
we're,
serious?
we're starting strong. I guess I didn't ever think about it. And it's funny because I
Hmm.
absolutely love frogs, but frogs are like more slimy and wet and live in water a lot of the time, but toads are more dry and bumpy. And that's kind of their difference. And they are, I guess, separate in their animal families.
Definitely separate in the animal family tree. And I always remember that because toads are like kind of warty,
Hmm.
and you don't want to really hold them because you don't want to get warts. At least that's what, the wildlife people will tell you, but you probably don't actually
Yeah.
get warts from it. And
I guess
then,
I
yeah,
felt like
frogs are aquatic. So
I felt like frogs and toads were kind of interchangeable, almost like tortoises and turtles, but maybe it's like similar how
totally.
turtles are in the water and like tortoises are dry and
Yeah, that's a
yeah.
good, like, apples to oranges,
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
And I think another good like learning point for this anxiety into action is learning about, yes, this place that you can help and what's in your backyard, but going even further and seeing if there are organizations already involved with things that you care about. And so I think a great example of this, again, is coming back to the Puerto Rican crested toad. And I think this is a good opportunity to highlight the Puerto Rican crested toad conservancy and learning about their resources and how you can participate in their programs if you live in Puerto Rico or you're someone that wants to work with reptiles and amphibians. Like, learn about the organizations that are also fulfilling this mission that might inspire you to just care about what's in your backyard. And so I wanted to take a short moment to actually talk about the Puerto Rican Crested Toad Conservancy and more fun facts about the crested toad. What do you think,
Yeah,
Coral?
I love
Yeah?
that.
Okay, since we're talking about education and learning about these species, then we should go into more detail about it, right?
Do it.
Okay, cool. So the Puerto Rican crested toad is the only native toad found in Puerto Rico. It was once thought to be extinct, but a small population was actually rediscovered in the 1960s. Today, fewer than 3,000 remain in the wild. They are listed as critically endangered by the IUCN and are actually the only native toad species found on the whole island. So, that being said, with such limited range for the species to thrive in its environment, mostly due to habitat loss and introduction of invasive species and actually other toads that outcompete the Puerto Rican crested toad. They breed in pretty much temporary rainy pools, but that habitat is vanishing, which is the problem because their numbers are decreasing and their habitat is vanishing, so they have a lot working against them. Luckily, there are captive breeding programs that are their lifeline. We have so many captive breeding programs to thank in the United States that are actually bringing back species from the brink of extinction. And this is because zoos play a pivotal role in providing resources to allow for these captive breeding programs to flourish. So we have a zoo in Florida, and then the Fort Dallas Worth Zoo in Texas is actually responsible for basically bringing the species back and reintroducing them into its native habitat in Puerto Rico. So, why is Bad Bunny celebrating this species? Well, he really is iconic, first of all, for being one of the first major celebrities to use his platform to spotlight a critically endangered species. And by drawing attention to the Puerto Rican crested toad, he's actually bridging the gap between pop culture and conservation in a way that really no one has done before, like I said. And in doing this, he's proving that protecting wildlife can be cool, urgent, and deeply personal to Puerto Rican identity. So when the biggest name in Latin music speaks up for the smallest creatures, the world really listens. And thank fucking God, because we need pop culture to make conservation cool. We need people to protect species, and we need people to protect people and the planet. Thank God for fucking Bad Bunny.
This is exactly why I'm like party girls for conservation. This is the energy that we need. You know what I mean?
We do need that energy. We just need that energy from everyone. People
Yes.
people of all ages, of all backgrounds, of all skill sets can be involved in conservation. And Bad Bunny proves that because he believed so hard in himself that he used his platform for people and the planet. And in doing so, he raised over $20,000 for the crested toad, $15 to $20,000 for the crested toad. He's not a scientist, he's not a conservationist, he's just someone who gives a shit about people and the planet. It's like be a decent person, love your neighbors, and love your backyard and the animals that come in it, right? Like
Period.
yeah, so I could go on and on, but I don't know. Should we talk more about the crested toad? I
Yeah,
think
let's hear some fun facts.
more fun facts. Let's see. They are ancient survivors. This toad is one of the oldest species in the Caribbean, having evolved in isolation for almost millions of years, and it's actually the only native toad to Puerto Rico. In addition to that, their name, because they are a Puerto Rican crested toad, they have this distinctive crest. And adults have these kind of prominent bony crests above their eyes that give them their name and kind of a somewhat fierce appearance. And they're actually completely harmless to humans, despite them maybe looking a little bit more fierce. It doesn't look like they have like devil horns, but they do have a crest above their eye. And so they look very unique in that way. When I was looking at pictures of them last night, I was like, oh my gosh, like they really do have this beautiful crest and this kind of milky green color.
Very cool.
Yeah, so they're pretty awesome. They spend most of their lives underground, actually, in burrows and caves, only really emerging during the breeding season when they have heavy rains, and that kind of creates temporary pools. And so some individuals actually may stay underground for 10 to 11 months out of the year until these breeding conditions are right. And then hundreds of toads kind of emerge spontaneously or simultaneously, excuse me, for breeding events that really just last a few nights. So males produce this distinctive trilling call that sounds kind of mechanical to attract females in this breeding event, which is pretty exciting. I've never actually seen anything like that, but that would be really cool to see. So in addition to them having this kind of interesting underground lifestyle, they also have this color changing ability. So they can actually lighten or darken their skin color depending on temperature, humidity, time of day, and ranging from this yellowish to tan, dark brown color.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I didn't know that they could, kind of change colors like a chameleon. They blend in very well with their environment. So
That's awesome. Do we think they're a freak or force of nature?
force of nature.
I'm gonna say force. The fact that they thought they were extinct and nope, they're still here.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Animals will always surprise you, right?
Hmm.
On that note, another great, really fun fact about the species, and I love a conservation success story, is that they have a conservation comeback. So like we were saying, once thought to be extinct in the 60s, rediscovered populations led to them having a really successful captive breeding effort for amphibians in zoos across the U.S.
That's incredible.
Yeah, they're really a great example of how conservation efforts can help bring back a species from the brink of extinction.
We love that. More
Toads,
of that.
more of that. We love our toads. We love our conservation success stories. And we love when people make conservation cool and accessible and understandable. Like, combine conservation and animals with music and put that on the global stage and see what happens.
Hey,
Thank you, Benito.
thank you.
Bad Bunny forever.
Well, in other news, we have some updates for you planet people. We have a big announcement. We are going to take a little break, a little breather, but we are not going to leave you for too long. We are going to really take a step back and work on an awesome project that we're so excited about, and that's a short film that we have in the works.
We won't spill the beans too much, but I think we do have the responsibility to go global with our story. For a long time, our podcast has been very local and regional to Southern California, covering sea to shining desert, right? That's always been our motto, and it still is. And we're still working on those stories behind the scenes. But right now, we know now more than ever before, we have an urgent duty to share a message of hope. And that's following in the footsteps of our favorite leader, I know you know who I'm talking about if you've been paying attention, but I don't want to give too much away. But we have
We can give a little
yeah,
away.
it's a teaser. It's a
Yeah.
little teaser. We'll be doing a short film about my journey to Gombe in Tanzania, where I followed in Jane's footsteps. And I think today and yesterday with Bad Bunny performing just solidified the belief I have in myself and like this vision that we have to continue Jane's message and that it takes pure belief to move forward. And I'm so happy, Coral, that we get to do that together. And we have a lot to do behind the scenes right now.
Yeah. And that's why we're taking a little break is so we can put all of our focus into that. And we will have to rely on you guys, our audience, because we will be crowdfunding so that we can finish the film and we're going to need your help. So if you don't already subscribe to us and if you don't already have your email on our email list, please, please, please go and do that. We are going to have that in the show notes and keep you guys updated as we're moving along. And it's a really exciting story. And I feel like yeah, what you just said, the Bad Bunny show, all of the hope that Jane Goodall brings to the world. We just hope to continue that messaging and bring that message forward and another really, really cool art piece.
Absolutely. And storytelling will just always be at the center of everything that Planet People does and at the center of everything I have done because it's the stories that are in our DNA and it's believing in those experiences to continue that same type of experience moving forward. And for me, that's always been conservation. And now it's just in a more holistic approach where we're including communities and stories and indigenous knowledge and going beyond just our backyard right now. And I'm super excited to bring this big message to a global stage because I know, and Bad Bunny showed me that if you just keep believing in yourself when no one is paying attention, when you doubt yourself, that's when you're right at the edge. That's when you have to keep moving past your comfort zone because if you believe in yourself and your mission, that's all it takes. You don't have to be smart, you don't have to be beautiful or handsome or privileged or any of that. You just have to believe. And Bad Bunny literally was bagging groceries 10 years ago. He didn't come from privilege. He came from pure belief. Like animals can inspire you, but it's when people care about animals that makes you realize that you can be inspired to care about them too. And so that's why so many people love Jane Goodall too, right? Like, I don't think people would love chimpanzees or want them protected as much if she hadn't been like an icon for them, right? People love the crested toad because Bad Bunny said so. Love the
That's
crested
right.
toad. And I'm going to say love birds because I said so.
We
Let's
have to
see.
have ambassador people for ambassador animals.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All that to say that we are super excited and we believe in this vision and we believe in Jane's mission. Really, that's where this is coming from. Jane Goodall showed us that together we can and together we will. And Bad Bunny solidified that last night when he said, together, America can.
Yes. Well, we appreciate you guys staying tuned for our season two, and we do have some more season two episodes in the works. We won't be putting them out right away, but we have some things to look forward to, like a tortoise takeover with the Carapace Conservation and our journey into their facility. It was incredible. We also have condor conservation success stories that we are going to highlight. And yeah, just because we're taking a break doesn't mean that we're not going to be steamrolling ahead and bringing you guys the conservation stories that bring us hope.
Totally. And I think it's important to note that while we're quietly steamrolling ahead, we're also moving at the pace of nature. I think that's something that we learned a lot about this year when we went to a conference a couple weeks ago. And nature does not rush, yet everything is accomplished. And that's kind of the rhythm that I want us to move with the show this year. And it's been a lot for us to put out an episode every week on Wednesdays, and we're so happy to bring you guys those episodes. But right now, we just know behind the scenes, we have to get working on this global message and preparing for the rest of season two because that tortoise takeover is going to be awesome. And we just want to make sure that it's a great viewing experience for you guys. So stay tuned for Tortoise Takeover and Conservation Success Stories.
And our short film.
And our short film, obviously, if you love Jane Goodall and you love us and Benny and all of the amazing people doing amazing things in this world, then you'll love what we're doing because it's just so hopeful and I can't wait.
Yay.
Thanks, Planet People. Stay
We'll see you
tuned.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Planet People. We are thrilled to have you as part of our community of wildlifers who care about protecting the planet for future generations to enjoy.
We hope that by listening, you feel inspired to connect with nature and become a steward of the planet by getting involved and taking action with your local community conservation organizations. Until next time, stay positive, Planet People.
This episode was produced by Natalie Jean Sybil, Coral Carson, and Hugh Carr. Directed and edited by Coral Carson. Theme song by Hugh Carr under the artist name Flama. Thank you, team.